As you recall, it's not just the 5 chord that has a substitute with the 7 diminished triad, but it's also the 4 chord, that the 4 chord and the 2 chord can substitute for each other. And I want to show how that's the case. Actually, the theory will be very similar here. Here we have a 1, 4, 5, 1 chord progression. And I want to look at this 4 chord. Well, okay, we're in the key of D minor. We have a 4 chord that's a G minor chord. And then the 2 chord would be, actually in minor, the 2 chord is diminished. And if I flip this root of this 2 chord up to the top, we can see, again, just like with the 5 and the 7 diminished, there's it's only a whole tone away from each other. So the substitution, again, relies on certain notes staying the same and one note changing by step. So if that's the case, that means that I should be able to take this thing here, move this one by step, and get what I need as a substitute. I want to erase this because I want to play these two in succession so that you can compare them. Now, truth be told, this, while we've been working with this 1, 4, 5 progression a lot, the 2, 6 or 2 diminished 6 in minor, the 2, 6, 5, 1 progression is much more common in classical music. Well, at least in Mozart's era. It's the late 18th century. So, you know, and we can have all sorts of versions of this. I want to show a couple of different ones. It's essentially the same, but I just want to go through a couple of different options. So what could we, for instance, have, rather than this, have a 5-7? So move that like that. Is this possible? It's completely possible. Let me play it so that you can hear it. What about this 2 chord? This is another thing that we often find. Could we make the 2 chord a 7th chord? Yes, and this you find actually a fair bit. I would need to change a couple things. I need to move this down here and put this up here so that we get 2 diminished 6, 5. So root root 3rd in the bass, 5th, 7th, and then to 5-7, and then 1. Does it have to go to 5-7? No, it could just go to 5. Let me play this one. Then there's one more version, one more thing I want to introduce. Sorry, I want to take this out, and I want to take this chord and then I want to take this. Sorry, bear with me as I sort of switch things around. Now, I've mentioned earlier the 1, 6, 2, 5 chord progression. So could we have that here? Sure, why not? Let me throw that in. We have the 1, 6 in root position, then to 2, but 2 is not going to be in root position. Instead, we're going to put it in first inversion. We'll keep it as a 7th chord. We'll go here as a 7th chord into 1. This one you wouldn't, at this stage you wouldn't, in this kind of progression you wouldn't put this as a 7th chord. I mean, I guess you could see it, but it would be less common than this. So let's take a listen to this one. So all of these different progressions utilizing the substitution of a 2-6, or in minor 2 diminished 6, for the 4 chord are possible. And again, remember you can use it in just a first inversion triad or also a 7th chord, and that when it goes to the 5 itself can either be root position, it can be either be a triad or a 7th chord. It's usually root position, by the way. And this then gives you several more options in terms of the kinds of what I call turnaround progressions that you have. This 4-5-1 progression, now all of a sudden you have a bunch of options, and you can choose which one you think sounds the best.